Representative Chris Stewart blasts Democrats on impeachment circus. He says, case is so weak that you have to lie. Hello and welcome to TST. If you are new to the channel, tap on the subscription button and press the notification bell so you can receive authentic news that you can rely on daily. Utah Republican Congressman Chris Stewart slammed Democrats during the impeachment inquiry this week, specifically calling them out for a lack of reasons to impeach. His full statement was hard-hitting. The Salt Lake Tribune reports, Utah Republican Chris Stewart says the coup has started during the opening days of public impeachment hearings. Representative Chris Stewart used his few minutes in the spotlight of the first public impeachment hearing of President Donald Trump to boil the whole issue down to a single phone call between President Trump and Ukraine's leader. There is one sentence, one phone call, Stewart said. That is what this entire impeachment proceeding is, basically. And I gotta tell you, if your impeachment case is so weak that you have to lie and exaggerate about it to convince the American people that they need to remove this president, then you've got a problem. Stewart, a member of the House Intelligence Committee, asked only a few questions of the witnesses during his time in the hearing, opting instead to vent about the Democrats' impeachment inquiry that he characterized as a coup against the president, citing a years-old tweet by an attorney now representing a whistleblower who first raised questions about Trump's call with Zelensky. We first heard a lot about quid pro quo, and then many people realized that was meaningless, Stewart said. So they said, let's go for the fences and let's talk about extortion. Let's talk about bribery. Let's talk about cover-up and obstruction, for which there is zero evidence of any of that. Watch.
Welcome, I think, to year 4 of the impeachment of President Trump. I'm sorry that you have been dragged into it. The sign behind me says it very well. By the whistleblower's attorney, the coup has started and impeachment will follow. But after listening for what is going on now 4 hours and 21 minutes, after all of the secret hearings, after all of the leaks, after hearing witnesses such as yourselves give your opinions, it really comes down to this. One thing it comes down to. This is the transcript that the president has released of this phone call. There is one sentence, one phone call. That is what this entire impeachment proceeding is based upon. And I got to tell you, if your impeachment case is so weak that you have to lie and exaggerate about it to convince the American people that they need to remove this president, then you've got a problem. And the American people have been lied to again on this. We first heard a lot about quid pro quo. And then many people realized that was meaningless. So they said, well, let's go for the fences then. Let's talk about extortion. Let's talk about bribery. Let's talk about cover-up and obstruction, for which there is zero evidence of any of that. We heard a characterization of the president's phone call that was so outrageously inaccurate, it had to be described as a parody. And none of those matter. None of it matters. It comes down to this. We appreciate your insight. We appreciate your opinion. But all you can do is give your opinion of this one phone call. So in these corrupt nations, of which there are probably hundreds of corrupt individuals, hundreds of corrupt government officials, can you give me an example any time where the Vice President of the United States shows up and demands that a specific prosecutor be fired and gives them a 6-hour time limit to do that?
Stewart tweeted about this on his own Twitter account. Take a look.
Let me ask you, gentlemen, both of you have said that you have testified corruption in the Ukraine is endemic. Would we agree on that? Simple question. Problem is, isn't it?
It's a problem, and they're taking steps to address it.
Okay. Earlier in the hearing, both of you said use the word endemic or agreed to it. It's in the courts, it's oligarchs, it's prosecutors, it's everywhere. And I think we can also agree that that's not the only place in the world where we experience and see corruption. There's dozens and dozens of nations around the world that are steeped in corruption. Would you agree with that?
Mr. I would say that there's corruption in every country, including ours.
Okay, thank you. And some we're clearly more concerned about than others. So in these corrupt nations, of which there are probably hundreds of corrupt individuals, hundreds of corrupt government officials, can you give me an example any time where the Vice President of the United States shows up and demands that a specific prosecutor be fired, gives them a 6-hour time limit to do that? Are you aware of that ever happening any other place?
Excellent points made all around. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you've liked this report, please share among friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to Top Stories Today. Thank you for tuning into TST. I'm David Ravine. See you in the next one.